of the Dallas
City,
Cowboys.
everything.
God. Oh, yeah, that sound that you're hearing, that's my brain queefing. If you're wondering, that's my brain doing that.
No, you almost on it, though.
No, it wasn't even the right sport, dude.
It didn't have to be.
Right city, wrong sport.
It didn't have to be.
And then Dayton Jones of the Green Bay Packers. He got one game. So apparently this is one of his did I save this drug policy? I meant to. Let's see here. 'Cause I wanted to actually tell you guys what the new drug policy actually is in the NFL. And because I'm smarter than the average bear, I did. Okay. So for marijuana, we'll just talk about that right now. They've actually upped the threshold. The NFL is ramping down its stance on marijuana use. The threshold for positive tests has been increased from 15 nanograms per milliliter to 35 nanograms per milliliter. I don't know if you guys remember me telling you about the fact that a fighter pilot, a astronaut, and an Olympic athlete could have more dope in his system, or marijuana, in his system, than an NFL player, which is ridiculous. And this all came about because of Josh Gordon, the test revealing that the amounts that were caught in his sample, or that were found in his sample, were consistent with someone who just had contact but didn't actually smoke. But yet and still, he was still suspended under the old policy. The discipline goes like this. The punishment for a positive test is also changing. As is the case now, a first-time offense lands the player in the substance abuse program without suspension. So these are the guys we don't know about. There are guys that are in this program that we don't know about. The primary difference in the punishment for a second positive offense, simply a 2-game fine. So that's your second offense. We still probably wouldn't know about that. That wouldn't be reported. Each additional violation receives the following progressive discipline: 4-game fine, 4-game suspension, 10-game suspension. A player therefore can test positive for marijuana 3 times without getting suspended, is the synopsis of that. So then it goes back to an article. I take you guys back to an article that I saw. Wow. It was either Friday. Is it on here? June 30th. What day was June 30th, Rob? That Friday?
Sunday.
God, I have no life.
No, the Tuesday. That was Tuesday.
Okay. I was like, look at me. I'm
Today's the second.
reading
Yeah,
this
today's the
crap
second
on
Tuesday.
Thursday, on Sunday. So you're going to get a kick out of this, Rob. Who wrote this, by the way? Mike Freeman, who's now writing for the Bleacher Report, formerly of CBS Sports. He sat down and talked to the original Dirty Bird, not O.J. Santiago, Jamal Anderson. Yeah. About marijuana in the NFL. Seems like
I don't do no marijuana. That ain't my drug of preference.
you know.
I'm a dirty bird.
You can-
Hey, man, I do cocaine on the back of toilet balls.
Yeah, you can kind of assume that if a dude does coke, he probably does weed. He probably. I'm on the sauce again. Look, dude, this is pretty much my norm. I don't know where you've been for the last, 4 or 5 weeks since we've been doing this live. Yeah, this is pretty much my normal, my baseline test here. You know what I mean? This is where I'm going to pretty much reside normally. He talked about prevalent use of marijuana when he was in the game. He said it was used for enjoyment, but also treatment for aches and bruises caused by professional football. He says, quote, when I played, 40 to 50% of the league used it, end quote. We always talk on the show about Dr. Sanjay Gupta and his newly found, for lack of a better word, infatuation with the science behind marijuana, or cannabis as they call it medically. And one of the things that I found out recently, because I'm someone who I'm very interested in where this whole this phenomenon is going. From the medical side of things,
Mike.
from just like people like this who are self-medicating.
Yeah, I'm very interested myself, man.
Well, here's the thing that's very important for people to know, that there is something called a cannabinoid within the plant that does have an adverse effect on 2 things: on exactly what Jamal Anderson's talking about, inflammation, injuries like knee problems, and it secretes the same substance that it limits the substance that your brain secretes when you have a head trauma, aka a concussion, and limits the long-term damage It's been shown to limit the long-term damage of said concussion. So there is good, like, for all this foolishness, and I call it foolishness at the end, because here's the thing, the NBA don't even care. They don't even test for weed. You know why? Yes, 80% brothers with a bunch of money and a bunch of time on their hands. You start testing.
If they ain't gonna do nothing else, they go smoke some weed.
Yeah, you start testing. It's 12 dudes on the team. Yeah, you'll see teams showing up with with Mike Miller and Matthew Dellavedova, whatever. Mike Miller, like, he smoked too, so I'm not just gonna say that.
And
just because
Daly too. That's what I'm about to say. Daly too.
Maybe not the old Australia. He's a coffee man himself. He's an upper, not a downer. Seems like he's more on the side of the uppers. My point is, overall, not to like split it down racial lines, but
so you say
like,
dudes, he's on cocaine?
Maybe, I don't know. Dudes, you'll see teams not being able to get teams on the floor if the NBA started testing for this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
Who,
I can remember seeing Ryan Strickland and Mookie Blaylock and
don't get started on Mookie.
What's the boy name? Oh my God, what's the dude's name? Played for Detroit.
I don't know. Guys Ben Wallace?
Rick Mahorn. Rick
way
Mahorn.
back in the day. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like Rasheed Wallace. I mean, like, I'm just going around, just, my mind is just allowing me to think about, all these dudes that I remember seeing out on the court and being like, damn, are they high? Like, Mookie and Ryan Strickland, dude, it wasn't no secret. Them dudes were out there, they were stoned out on the court.
But
like
Mookie,
100% stoned.
the story's been out about Mookie, about
him
being a drunken addict. Jamal Anderson goes on to say, it's at least 60% now. That's the bare minimum. That's because players today don't believe in the stigma that older people associate with smoking it. To the younger guys in the league now, smoking weed is a normal thing, like having a beer. Plus, they know that smoking it helps them with concussions. See, this is part of my thing where, we talk about these players getting more educated, but we talk about it in the sense of guys retiring early and guys trying to save their body. But the guys who aren't trying to save their body, what they're trying to do? They're trying to heal their bodies. And while the NFL is going through what kind of lawsuit? One of these prescription drug lawsuits, like dudes I didn't even save that article. The dude that's hooked. It's not an article. I'm sorry, because I saw. I think it's going to be on Outside the Lines or 30 for 30 or something like that. But guys, they're talking about they end up after their careers taking like 100 pills a day and spending like $10,000 a week on pills and things like that. Yeah, that's ridiculous, right? But it seems to be okay because a doctor gave it to you, not the weed man. You know what I mean? And he goes on to say in this article, he talks about they did like some anonymous surveying of players, and like guys got sense. Like, ain't nobody going out on the field high, because first of all, you play a violent sport, so the last thing you want to do is get caught slipping because you're not paying attention, and then your career ends anyway. So guys understand, like, there's the stories of the dudes who spoke in anonymity was like, no, I go home, I have a room that has my sports memorabilia in it, and it has my weed in it, and I go upstairs after a hard practice, and he talks about the hardest day usually being Wednesday, the hardest contact day, or after the game, and I smoke while I'm watching SportsCenter or something, as opposed to some kid or some player going out and getting hammered drunk, hopping in a car and killing his best friend, because that happened. That's a real thing. You feel me? The NFL is gonna have to wake up at some point and realize that MLB, they don't give a damn. I mean, they try to act like they do for the dudes that ain't making no money in the minor leagues, but in the major leagues, no one cares. Like, you got to get caught with weed. Like, you got to get caught smoking weed, like, out in left field while the pitcher's warming
in
up.
Your hand.
Right.
Right.
For them to do something.
Passing the blunt around out in the outfield.
Right. Like, the NFL is the only one with this huge, still old-time stigma on marijuana and costing dudes money and suspending dudes for like, think about it. We think about 4 games, but this ain't baseball. This ain't basketball. This is a quarter of your season. You feel me? This is the equivalent of 20 games in basketball. 4 games. And it's not even a sport where you can just come back and play. Like, you got to spend some time getting your body back acclimated, because think about what you've done. You've gone through, the suspension allows you to go through the preseason, so you can play in preseason games and practice, but then you're banned from the facility. So then you got to come back and then recondition your body to that contact and all those things again in a short amount of time. So really, conceptually, if we talking about a dude really not quite being ready to play until like 6 weeks. It turns into like a 6-week ordeal. Best case scenario. They're going to have to, like, at some point, the science is going to catch up with the NFL. And we're going to look back at all this criticism, and we talk about these kids being stupid and, this is like a stupid thing. You know you're going to get tested. Well, I also know my back hurt. You know what I mean? I know both things. So I want relief now, and I don't want no damn Vicodin or no damn Oxy whatever.
Oxycodone.
Yeah, Oxycontin, Oxycodone. I don't want none of that, because that's heroin. For those of you who don't know, it has the same chemical makeup of heroin. So if I said to you, okay, Rob, here's a spoon and a needle, or here's a joint, which one you reaching for, cuz?
The joint?
Of course, because you know what you can do with weed. Stop. Once that girl get in you, she ain't gonna let you go.
Nope.
That heroin ain't gonna let you go, boy. So yeah, you got dudes post career. That's why they suing the NFL now, because they were told to take these things allegedly, or else it would affect their playing time or it would affect their employment.
Yeah,
So they
these
did.
folks having brain treatment, trauma treatment at each other's houses. Hey man, you gonna come over for a little treatment tonight? Having treatment, man, having brownies and having, Kush cocktails and all that good stuff, man. Yeah,
Listen,
they're having a good time.
one player said that the marijuana actually ended what he described as a borderline drinking problem. Another said that past chronic knee, he said past chronic knee and shoulder issues are almost gone now. And this stuff is scientific. This is not a placebo effect. Like, scientists have talked about the chemicals that are in this plant that have these anti-inflammatory and these cannabinoids that help with all these brain dysfunctions and all this kind of stuff. If you ever want to look at something, go to CNN, and if you got on demand, look for Weed and Weed 2. It's Dr. Sanjay Gupta's thing where he shows you the effect that it has on kids that have, like, when I see like babies having like 100 seizures a week. That's heartbreaking, man. That's one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever seen. And then they mamas got to go to Congress and fight for them to get some medicine, which, by the way,
or they have to move until the state passes
right.
the law. So then
And the biggest takeaway from it is it's made from the marijuana plant, but it's made the serum that's made can't get you high. Like, you have to drink like a barrel of it to get you high.
There's no THC in it.
Right, it's TBC.
Right.
But still, these old crickety white folks, oh no, what about the kids? Yeah, what about the kids? They dying slowly too.
But you know what I will say is that, okay, because now, in Georgia now, you can get the medicinal marijuana card, but it's only for the oil or whatnot. But the thing about it is that oil only treats a certain type of ailment, because you have other ailments, different types of cancer or whatnot that are the pain or whatnot that's associated with it is only relieved through smoking the marijuana or vaporizing other marijuana so that you can get the THC.
Yeah, it's right now in the state of Georgia, you can only get it if your kid has what is it called when you have seizures and stuff? I can't epilepsy. Is that what it's called? Like epileptic seizures
but it's
and things like
that.
It's
6 different things, because it's not just for kids. It's 6 different things, but for the potheads out there, you can't get your car and think you go get weed.
You can't get no herb. You're getting some oil that like I say, you gonna keep drinking it and wonder why you ain't high. One of those type of deals. All right, tell you guys what. When we get back, we're gonna talk about Keith Olbermann and something that was rumored to have happened to him by his employer, ESPN. Something that we kind of forgot to bring.